So, diving into this move with RA in mind, we're going to do a quick little recap of everything that has been happening lately. Obviously, we hit that target on the top side, and then beyond this, we start to get into the next range. So that's pretty straightforward and easy. We don't need to talk too much about getting into the next range, because we'll get there if we break the move and et cetera, et cetera. And it's great to see this move happen, because there was a whole bunch of random news stuff that came out about the SEC getting hacked and their Twitter account and the release of all that stuff. But we had obviously charted this stuff way before that had happened and talked about it for the past 2 week or week and a half here. And it hit our first target, which is great, and ultimately hoping to go for that second target and then above. So just coming back here for a second and looking at these ranges. You've got this range here was a pretty large range, and that origin here, that daily origin, now acting as a weekly level. So that's where you get that weekly strength from. Break over one weekly level, hit another weekly level, and this is just a range trend. So we can actually just kind of go and delete our range trend now. We won't need it. You simply won't need this range trend, and we're not at a point where we use monthlies yet. Even this monthly right here, we may end up hitting some other monthly stuff like up in here. I'm not going to worry about or focus on that today, but 65K here definitely be a pretty solid target. But let's not worry about that today. Let's just go and continue our RA. So we did hit the daily level here. This very faint black line is a monthly. Again, we don't use monthlies. That's why I color it black, just so it's there on the chart and I can see it, but also so that it's pretty concealed, as we don't really use monthlies. And then just going back to the bottom side of this chart, weekly strength, offsetting with a backside 4-hour level. So this would be a 4-hour backside level, because it's an origin level here. It's one time frame up in terms of strength, and that ends up being your 4-hour backside. So now we have to kind of like connect the dots here and also add the 4-hour front side and combination levels. Like if we are going to go deeper in this range, you've got a 4-hour front side here, right? So you've got your 4-hour front side. And what I'd like to do is see what this break level is at the highest level. So because you have a break here, you've got an origin here that will act as a daily. So ultimate target to ladder this thing up would be this right here, which was already hit actually. Giving you your daily strength offset by weekly. So, when you look at the chart, you can see you go from daily right here. This is your 4-hour origin. You go from daily right here to weekly right there. And I do just want to check what we have on the daily. So we actually do have something that could ladder this move here. You've got this guy here. But more importantly, you've got this guy here. So, you start adding things like this as a daily. I don't really see that being something that we would be targeting right now. And you can see down here how we created the daily, targeted that weekly. And so you've pretty much created your Pandora's box scenario here. Like you've pretty much created your, Pandora's box 2.0 for the larger breakout in Bitcoin for the future. So you've got your daily here, you've got your daily here, both origins, both acting as weekly levels. So you've got a Pandora's box happening from here to here. So we need to start designing this architecture and looking at the risk with that in mind at the highest level. We can leave these other origins here on the chart, although I don't really think they're going to have much effect, but we definitely want to add a few of these levels here, and kind of keep that 4-hour there, keep that 4-hour backside there. We can keep this as a I believe that was a 4-hour origin that broke. That's what I have it marked as. Yeah, 4-hour origin, 4-hour backside. So that's fine. It's all kind of one and the same levels there. We can remove this 5-minute level. We can remove the 15. We can at this point remove those lower time frames. We no longer need them. We can keep this interior range trend because it did hold up the move. And the reason why we would keep this interior range trend is it can start to help ladder this move up. So, and what I mean by that is, say you have a daily here and you just start creating time frames, right? Like you have a 4-hour inverse here, like you've got your inverse here. So let's just change this to a 4-hour level. And this is pretty key for this trend, and it's really some of the stuff I wanted to talk about today. You've got your 4-hour level here. You've got your 4-hour level right here. It's inversing. if you start to stabilize and you take one of these 4 hour levels and you bounce it, and then, you end up hitting this hourly level, that 4 hour is breaking because the hourly is going to ladder against that 4. So we're doing a lot of time frame strength right now, which is something that I really want to drive home with people. So there's kind of this balance in the chart that happens at the highest level. So at the very first part of this, we did the highest level to create that Pandora's box, right? That Pandora's box from right here on the daily right here, connected to the daily origin right there, both acting as weekly levels. That's the higher part of this chart, where you're going to say, like, that's the confines of where you exist right now, right? You exist from this, which you can already see the ladder points are actually created. You've got your ladder here, you've got your ladder here, or that, because it breaks down, you've got your ladder here, and you've got kind of these ladder points that are existing on the chart. So you actually could go down here, ladder that, and you'd kind of have this laddering motion against this weekly, and that would be fine. And then you would go up top, and maybe you would ladder this, and you'd create that Pandora's box. So we do have that higher time frame that we need to be aware of on this chart. And we can delete this one. We're not going to need that. That's never going to act as a daily. It was something that could have in the moment before, but no. And so the time frame strength of this hourly trend, it's very important right now. It's very important as let me just delete these guys right here so they're out of our way. It's very important to see what the interior part of this move is going to do, because we have our exterior portion, and we know that's Pandora's box 2.0 mirror, all that stuff. Watch it on the skill tree if you're not familiar with that information quite to that level. But Pandora's box here is what you have, and then internally, we're gonna have, what did this move do? So right now we can see it has a 4 hour backside here, so it has tested a 4 hour level. And you've got 4 hour levels on top. So, like, are you creating internal ladders from here, or possibly even this level is hit and you're going to go here next? We don't know. And hourly levels, where do those exist? And we can start marking some of those. And you've got kind of a backside here. I don't know if that's an origin, and I don't even know if I would use that, because at that point you're going to have a backside that's there. No, it's not even usable. So what, you have a backside hourly level here. You've got a front side here to here. You've got a front side right here. So this is where you have to start looking at, okay, well, like, what's holding this thing down? Where are the interior pieces being built, right? Like, where's that interior piece? And then, you do have, as well as this right here as a 4. You're never going to have this as a daily, but you do have it as a 4 hour level, right? So you do have, this could act as daily rejection off the weekly. So this could be the spot where, you hit this level, and then you come and you ladder this as the, I need to add that as a 4, as the daily. So then you'd be kind of completing that trail down, weekly, daily, and then maybe you create something here. You get a little 4 hour level right here, maybe a 4 hour, and all that stuff's going to be pretty important as to what we hit up top. But right now, the internal part of this is that you do have an hourly trend that's been holding. So whatever part of this move brings you down, if you are going to hold this hourly level, you have to start looking at what brought it down on the top. So hourly level here, and we're just going to kind of continue this trail, because I'd like to see if we've had some pretty clean levels get hit. I don't think we do, but I'm going to create the trail anyways. You've got backside there. Actually, backside is right here. Backside, the front side is always going to hit first, because you got backside, front side combination level right there. And if you were to take this level as a short, are you really risking missing the trade over 17%? I think if you're pretty confident that level is going to be hit for sure, I think it's a good level to take. And you've got an hourly range trend here, and I don't think this is going to be a 4. I don't think, you just haven't had enough time to create those time frames. So you could possibly be in a scenario where you've got hourly to hourly to see which side of the range breaks. We can take this 15-minute off. That was already hit earlier in the day yesterday, and that's fine. And what do we have here on this side? Let's just going to look at this for a second. You do have an hourly origin right here. So this is giving you your 4 hour level. So you do have your, that was the wrong one. You do have your 4 hour level here as well. So 4 hour level offsets. I think at that point you just delete this, because you hit that 4 hour level there, and that's your level, and that's your trend. You're not going to have anything in here yet. It's too early in the move, but let's just check 15-minute trails, make sure we didn't miss anything here. Yeah, you got a 15-minute level there, right? You need a 15-minute level here, go straight up. none of that 15-minute level stuff is going to be useful. The first and only thing we can really do is just start to see if we have a trail of reverse levels being hit here. So you've got reverse level there, which would give you your next trade right here, or even here, backside happens. So your first test is right here, and I guess I'm just going to leave that so we can kind of follow this trail visually. You've got your backside there. Your next one would be backside here, front side here. That is hit, even backside there. Next one's going to be backside here. Next one's going to be this right here. So you haven't hit this yet. You haven't hit this 15-minute yet. But that, nor here nor there, I don't really feel confident that these 15-minute levels are even something I'd be paying attention to. They have gotten hit and created a trail. I just more want to see right now when I'm looking at this, what the reaction off this is. So this being a weekly level, I want to see what stops this move and starts to stabilize. So right now we've got the 4-hour level hit. So let's talk about that. 4-hour level is hit. We need to create a 1-hour hold level now. So that 1-hour hold level being created off that 4 is the first part of that. So you've got your 1-hour level here, right? So you are starting to ladder this move up. You've got a 15-minute here and here as well. I just don't think you're going to be using this at all. I don't know if necessarily this move is done yet. I would like to see it hit this hourly first. If you have a 4-hour level hit down here and this hourly stops it, well, that's going to be a problem because it's going to collapse this 4-hour level. So this level will ultimately collapse if this hourly trend stops it. So we actually kind of need to look for either hourly origins, which we're not going to have any on this chart because it's too fresh, or actually just 4-hour hold levels. So you really can just delete everything else on your chart except for a 4-hour level right now. And 4-hour, like that's a pretty nasty wick. But yeah, I mean, it still counts. So right now, you actually are between hourly and hourly levels. So I do believe you're between this trend here and this trend here right now, internal against external trend. If this hourly hold level continues to hold, I think you break this move right here. I think one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to go straight up right now and test this hourly level to see if this 4-hour level is going to collapse, and then you're left with one of two things. Either this hourly holds or the whole entire move collapses, right? You could eventually get down to trend and hourly to hourly, but at that point, you would be targeting the daily level because you would have hit the backside 4, giving you daily. So there's gonna kind of come a point where do you hit this trend before you hit this daily level? Because if you were to sink straight down, you're going to hit that daily level, or are you going to kind of do this thing out here and hit this level without testing that as a daily? And I think that's pretty important because if you get to this daily here, it's offsetting this weekly. So that's the part of the move where you can start to move up if this holds. Right? Because you're now holding a 4-hour multiple times and you're hitting your daily. So you've got both time frames kind of working in your favor there. So then you have 2 time frames up top that you need to hit. So really understanding when there's a big move like this in the markets and you see very critical levels hit, things like weekly levels, something has gone up quite a bit, down quite a bit, broken ranges, things like that. This is really where we need to start that process of looking at, okay, what do we do now in order to best assess this move? And we've got it. We've got weekly strength right here because we identified the proper level. And then we know what we have to target on the bottom. There has to be at least at a minimum of a weekly level targeted on the bottom if this thing is going to kind of create a Pandora's box. So, you're either down here or down here. And if you can never reach these levels, you're still breaking up. And that's, pretty big piece of this thing because right now, you're just in an internal range. This internal range, if it continues to hold, and here's a key piece of this, if the range continues to hold, you're breaking this because you simply can't target something that would at a minimum cause a mirror. So the minimum requirement for this level up here is that it targets its equal time frame. If it cannot target its equal time frame, the level is broken and it will move up. So if this internal range gets held, you can never target what this was on the bottom side of the chart. Therefore, meaning this is not the final target and it's still laddering up its move. So this internal range is actually deciding the fate of this internal range right here, kind of this stuff right here, is going to decide the fate of this entire level, which is the whole entire range, which then at that point breaks you into your range before you start getting into some really, really big price stuff. So if you break this range, you've got one range maybe left that can even go here, and you'd have to start going and looking for weekly levels. So you'd go above this, pull back, create possibly a weekly origin here. Even this one here can do that right now, create that weekly origin. but we're not there yet because the range is still too internal, and that this move could just go straight up, and this was never a test and a retest. That would take, you know, a couple weeks to get to that point where you'd have to go down a couple weeks later, test this again, and then, you know, and then at that point you've got some weekly information. We're not there, so we don't need to worry about that. That's not going to happen for quite some time. So the key to this move right now is to see this internal range hold, because if this holds, this is broken, and you've got the chance to get some pretty crazy relongs in here to move this thing up. And then, you know, the way you assess that is you've got a couple tools you can use. You've got your internal range right here, because if this holds it up, then you know you're breaking whatever 4-hour information has held it down. And you could also, like I said earlier, you could create the Pandora's box or the mirror between these two levels. And right now you've got a 1-hour hold right here. You've got a 4-hour level that this thing is held, so the 1 hour will ladder the move. And then you could possibly combination this or look for a combo on this level to see if there is anything. So this is also potentially a 1-hour level if it hits, as it's a 15-minute, if it hits and then pulls back. So what I'd like to see is how far can you deep dive this based on what levels are here, because this is the 4-hour, and this would be your greediest 1-hour ladder point. Now, a 1-hour ladder point could actually be a couple different things here. It could be this testing, and that creates an origin, and then it retests, you know, how deep that goes. It could go down here. It could, you know, it could just go here. It could hit it perfectly and then move up and hit it perfectly again. The point being is that this 15-minute can create your hourly level. You know, if you start going down here to target this hourly level, all of a sudden you're in daily territory with this origin. So, you know, we really don't want to create that daily down there, because if we do hit this, then what we need to do is we need to create a 4-hour hold level. So some kind of 4-hour level so that this thing can start laddering, right? So you're kind of your first golden scenario. So there's two here. If you start dropping really fast right now, I think looking for something inside of this that can deep dive and possibly create this as an hourly would be a pretty good target. If you wanted to be a little safer, you could forego that trade and then buy the rebuy on this. However, you may not get an instant rebuy. It may go up and then keep going up, and then one day in the future come down to here. So, you know, then you have your trend, and who knows what time frames these create. So that's something we can't see. We can only see what's in front of us. This could be a 4-hour ladder point for all we know. It could be a daily. It could go down here and sit here for, you know, 36 hours, and then all of a sudden this is like a daily trend from here to here, or, you know, from here to here, however it plays out, right? Like we don't know that. So that's one scenario, is that you target this for your hourly level, because this is a 4, and then this here being the 15 origin, you can get above that. You could also create an hourly hold level like that. Like you could also come dip this part of the move and then just sit here, and you know, you could create an hourly hold level there and never quite get to this, and that would affect the trade. That, you know, the further you go out, if you keep moving out on this trade, obviously this being the hold level here at that point where it's connecting, if your charts are all the way over here and you haven't hit that move, that would be something where you hit that level, or you could go way beyond it out here and actually never reach this level because you've come all the way out here, and this is your hourly hold off the 4-hour ladder point, right? So that could be that part of the move as well. But the key thing right now is finding that hourly level right now, if we are to hold this part of the move, because we do have the 4-hour now as an active time frame. So active and passive time frames. Your 4-hour is active on the bottom, your weekly is active on top. So that's pretty compelling when a weekly level gets offset by a 4-hour. So that's quite a compelling part of the move. Even if it hits this yellow one and that's a daily, that's still laddering against this move. So right now the internal part of this range is really important to see. So what I'd like to do actually is I'd like to kind of do a little bit of risk assessment on this leg of the move, because I think right here, this little piece right here, I think is pretty critical. I think all the information right here is really where you want to be looking to take a trade. And, you know, I suppose you could drop pretty quick here, hit that, and then move above and, you know, create your daily in the 4. And that's another scenario too. So I think every trader has to make that decision. Do they want to trade this part of the move, or do they want to trade this part of the move? And, you know, this part of the move can go down here, and, you know, I would either be trading this or something in here as my two kind of spots. And then I would do my risk assessment. Like, would I take this blue level 44,284 right here? Well, let's RA it. Let's take a look. Would I take this as a re-entry on the trade? Well, it covers you, 18% covers both levels. So if you were to drop right now, and you're going to go all the way down to this hourly, you're going to get liquidated. So I don't think taking this as a trade makes sense, because it actually doesn't cover all 3 levels. You know, as time goes on, where are you at with this thing? 18%, 62%, still not worth it. 14%, 45. That's still way too risky because this trend just has to hold. So it could actually go down and target that level there. 84 right there. Like if we were to drop straight off a cliff right now, I would actually take trend because you could cover trend, this 4-hour front side level, and every level for a 13% spread. So I may go a little bit over trend right here. Like I may put my trade something like, if we dropped right now, something like this, and then measure from there my RA, because you can cover every single level, the 4-hour here, the daily here, the hourly hold off of what could be a 4-hour created off the daily, acting as a reverse, or the trend hourly in the future, because this level is still active, right? Let's talk about that for a second. In the future, if we go or if we were to drop right now and target this, you would say, well, but Cotton, we have a daily level there. Yes, we have a daily level there, but what could happen is you have a daily level, you create a 4-hour hold here, and then your hourly level can be this trend in the future as you come out to bigger time frames. Like as this thing goes on, you could ladder this move out here, and you've already hit your daily, you've laddered your 4, oopsies, we went a little too far with that one there. You've had your 4-hour, you've laddered that 4 right there, you come out here, you hit the 1, so then you have the daily, ladders the 4, ladders the 1. So this trend is still very much active and in play, and a pretty important piece of our trading puzzle right now. So that's something to keep in mind, that this hourly trend here can still be a ladder point for the future. But again, depending on how fast this thing falls, where I would take my trade here, it doesn't make sense. You're going to get liquidated on all levels here. If you were to drop straight down right now, would I go for this 4-hour front side? Yeah, I don't think so. I think I would just go for trend if you dropped right now, because you can cover both levels without getting liquidated and have a safe trade. These levels never make sense. This is the 4-hour. Is there 1-hour information here? That becomes our next question. We'll look at that as we go on. If you kind of come out here and your trade comes all the way out here, and then you sink right here. Then you measure your RA here and say, well, can you cover every single level here? You've got 32% to cover 3 levels. Yeah, it's still getting a little risky because I think you can deep dive this trend. I guess it makes sense. I think the further you go out, the more sense it makes to take this higher level, the further you go out, because then you're covering the spread for 16%. Then you're never below this 16%. You can cover the spread. So as long as that hourly intersects with that daily, and this can be the daily. So right, daily, 4-hour, hourly, right? So you can ladder the move like that, which is, again, just thinking about when this thing actually hits these levels, what makes sense RA in that moment, right? So that's how I look at the bottom side, but I really want to think about what's in here right now. So what I'm going to do is, we have hit a 4. I want to look for some hourly information. So we really don't have anything yet. Like you have right here, 15, that's hard closed, can't use that. You have right here, so that's a 15, that could be your hourly, but you go here, you ladder the move. This is all the same right here. So you actually just delete this right now. You don't even use that. You have a 5-minute level here. So what else do you have here? You have actually a 15-minute level right here that can ladder the move. So you have a 15-minute level right here that can ladder the move. You've got a 5-minute here. So now you're starting to build that architecture in the move, because now you've actually got that laddering, right? You've got daily, 4-hour, hourly, 15, 5. Like you've kind of got all your time frames that would be here on your charts. Like this is untested completely. I want to keep going and take a look and see what else is here. You've got a potential deep dive here for a 5-minute level. Hits and then has to hit a second time. And you've got your greediest point up in here. So your greediest level might even be the 3-minute, 5-minute combination, 5-minute level. Do you buy this 5-minute level or that 5-minute level? Like which one are you buying, right? Like which one makes sense here? Well, 40% difference. Yeah, the lower one makes sense. I would never risk that 5-minute level for 30%, because this has to deep dive. This has to deep dive the move, and it could be 50%. It could be, say, this is a possible liquidation scenario. So you're never actually pushing that part of the move, right? You're never actually pushing it. So let's take a look again at these time frames, kind of think about what's going on, and look at what's getting hit on the top side. You got a 4-hour here. Your next 4 hours is going to be here. You've got a break level here. This is equivalent to a 4-hour now, so that's going to be a 4-hour level on the top. So you do have a 4-hour level here. Oopsies, wrong one. I had to change it to blue, origin. 15-minute levels, origins here, no. That's all the same. This is all the same here. 15-minute origin. It could ladder this as the hourly as well. So this is something to keep in mind, that you've got a few ladder points here being developed in this move. 4 hour, reverse this, create interior trend. That's another possibility to move here, right? You've got something like this to this. What the hourly time frame looks like. You've got your hourly there, so you really don't have anything here, and you wouldn't cycle this right now. Like, you wouldn't use a cycle trend right now. And there's no other time frames here. So you've got hourly up here, you've got 4 hour here. So you're actually almost running into the same scenario on both sides of the chart. It's actually quite nice to see this, that you've got a 4 hour, and if it continues on and hits this could be the hourly, or this could even be the hourly. So you've got a few different options there, but you do have a 4 hour level that could activate right now being hit if this pulls back. If it doesn't go up quickly here, right? Like, how much time do we have left? 14 minutes. So, you know, you have to create in an hour and 14 minutes and go back up to here, and that's a 4 hour level all of a sudden. So you've got Pandora's box from here to here, which is exactly what you would do, right? Your Pandora's boxing the interior range. So that would have been that trade 4 hour level. And, you know, this is already gonna get created. Like, it's pretty obvious this is gonna get created here. So you're actually just Pandora's boxing. So now it's a game of hourly levels. I think I like the origin on the bottom. I honestly think this could potentially be it. And you bounce this off the 5, or do you go deeper for the 3? I think everybody has to make that decision, because it could be 21% to here. Yeah, it could be 52% to here. You're talking about liquidation if this goes a little deeper. So does this even start to make sense? Well, there's the hourly level. What about a 15? Do you have anything on a 15-minute level here? No. Do you have any reverses back here? No. You have no 15-minute levels. So then you've got a disconnected time frame. So you got the 5-minute, the 3-minute. I think at that point you just go for the greediest level. This pretty much has to hold, and you have no 15-minute levels here. You've got a 5-minute level. It's too close to that. You've got the 3-minute here. Let's measure these two. It's too far. You can't take this 15-minute level here. What you have to do is you have to see one of these hourlies hit. You have to see an hourly level hit here, because now you've got 4 hour, 4 hour. I think you might even just ladder this part of the move. Well, there it is right there. If you actually just come down and continue to hold this, well, you're going to break this move up. And it depends how long you hold it. You could mirror it like this and then collapse, or you could just hold the move and start breaking over this stuff, right? You could, depending on how long this takes. Right now it's a waiting game. If you're going to go straight down here and start holding the move up here, like this trend isn't going to hold you. You're going to be up in the bigger time frame. So, RAing this move is tough, because right now I think this is a move, and this is a very rare thing for me to say, because usually I have a pretty direct answer as to what level you're going after. If I had to say the level you're going after right now, I would say it would be this, and I would combo that current hourly. So that's what I would do. I would combo that current hourly and start creating moves off it. You've got a 15-minute level all in the same. You've got the 5-minute level. I think what I would do is I'd go for this right here. I think I would go for this trade right here as the 5-minute level, and look to hold over top of the hourly. And then you would go here and you would say, okay, but if you're going to go for that trade, does it make more sense to just go for this level and cover them both? 17%, right? You got 17% here. You've got 24% there. You've got 35% here. You're starting to get into liquidation territory to cover another level. So I don't even think you can take this 5-minute level here. I think you actually have to create an hourly internal trend. I think that's the only thing you can do here. And you don't even have really that great of set of candles to even create an hourly internal trend. So you don't have an hourly internal trend. We have to rely on this hourly level here, deep dives. I think honestly, you just take this level here as a knife catch. I think you take right above it or right below it. And so you would say, like, you take either right here, right? Or you take here, or you take down there. 18% spread, I would just play the level itself. Like, I would just go and I would say, here's the 3-minute level. I would just go slightly in front of it right there. And I would play that. If I was going to play any trade here as a knife catch, and I think this is a risky knife catch. So if you want a knife catch and you're in the mood, I think it's risky. I don't think it's extremely risky where it doesn't make sense, but I think it's definitely there, like 50-50 chance that this holds, just because it's not really targeting its level. So can this create the hourly off of a bounce off of something like this and get back above it? Yeah, and that creates the hourly to ladder this move, 4 hour to 4 hour to hourly to potentially coming out and targeting this hourly or this hourly here. So yeah, I think this is gonna greatly depend on how fast you move down. And as a secondary trade, if you do go down and you start to hit this hourly level and it starts to hold for a certain amount of candles here, like 3 or 4 candles, then I would just enter the hourly here, because clearly the 4 hours breaking here, and you have a minimum proposition of going to here hourly to hourly and using this as the trigger point in your trade, because this hits, this should Pandora's box it mirrored. If it doesn't, it will break the move. And then what happens is this acts as a trigger, because if you see this is getting hit and holding, you just get out of the trade. And now you're starting to go for that lower stuff, because now you're hourly to hourly on the bottom side. And then you're saying, can you create this as an hourly? So does this target this? And then you would short this as well to see if you actually shorted that level, right? Like you short this level here. After that, you come down here. This is your trigger point. Do you stay below this level? Yeah? Oh, okay. Then just stay in the trade and let this thing sink. Or do you get above it? And then, if you get above it, then you trigger out all the same, right? So really using time frame against time frame here to understand what the correct part of this trade is with RA. And I'm reserving a lot of my RA on this trade just because I do think that has a lot of different areas or places it can go. Like this is a pretty wild move with and I don't want people to forget that this is an extremely wild move for Bitcoin that has hit a pretty big level here. So you're really looking for weekly, and we're assuming right now that this 4 hour level is going to offset this, but that's a big ask. That's a really big ask, because you're talking about two time frames apart. If this thing holds the move, this thing's going to get blown out of the water and it's going to get smoked, and this thing's going to roar up. But for now, we're not there yet. We are simply laddering a 4 hour level and seeing what can happen on the internal piece of this to understand more about where the best trades are to take. But I think this hourly is a good place to look as a rebuy. This potentially is a knife catch, but this could be a dangerous trade, but also could hold the move up, create the hourly, and break everything. So this could be kind of final entry before another massive move up that it goes kind of like this, and you see this and it starts to go up into this bigger range, another huge massive like 1300% trade or something equivalent.